Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday webinar. We appreciate you guys being on. And guys, this morning we have something very special for y'all. I will say we've been trying to get together. Brad and I have been working to get together and get this going for you guys for quite a while, and good things come to those away. Symetra, in my opinion, is revolutionizing the industry when it comes to quick issue term. Okay, this product is a product that Brian, I won't forget I'll never forget the first time Brian wrote a Symetra product. It popped up on First Heartland, which is our connection to Symetra. I walked in his office. He goes, Dallas, I just wrote 2 pretty large term cases, and it took like 21 minutes, and they are done. They are issued. I have a policy number, and I'll be paying on them this Friday. And since then, he has written a ton of Symetra. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. This is something that you definitely need to have in your tool belt when you're out there talking to anyone that could use a term product. But this morning we have Brad and Danielle with us. So guys, I'm going to kick it over to them. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will answer those as we can. But without further ado, Miss Danielle Schneider.
Hello. Thanks again, Dallas, for having us. Yes, good things come to those who wait. I'm glad we were able to get this scheduled. So I'm Danielle Schneider. I have the new business underwriting team for Swift Term. So very Swift Term focused. And thanks for Brad and Matt for asking me to come present today. I'm lucky they're in the airport, so I get to come talk to you guys. So what I would like to do is just do a quick overview of Swift Term and give you some basic parameters, and then open it up for questions. Like Dallas said, go ahead and put things in the chat. We can answer those. So with no further ado, we'll get started. So Swift Term is easy for customers. That was a driving force when we were creating the Swift Term platform. We wanted it to be great for our financial producers and great for our customers. It's an e-application. No paper with Swift Term. You never have to touch a piece of paper. Nothing is wet signed. Everything is online. The customer completes the customer interview on their own time, meaning no need to schedule a 45-minute telephone interview with a stranger. They complete the health and life questions on their own. Everything is e-signature. Everything is e-payment. Contract delivery is also electronic. Your customer will have their own customer portal where their policy will live at all times. You will also get a copy of that, as well as First Heartland, all electronically. There's a lot of self-service for your customers, which is nice. They can go in and update information in their customer portal as well. So let's talk about the product a little bit. Our target ages are that younger demographic, that 25 to 50 years old, but Swift Term does cover from 20 years old up to 60. The face amounts are from 100,000 all the way up to 3 million. Available risk classes are super preferred, standard, preferred nicotine, and standard nicotine for our auto approval. You'll see we talk about 3 paths within Swift Term. In our fully underwritten, all rate classes are available. So the auto approved is that standard nicotine all the way up to our best class of super preferred. 4 different term durations you can choose from depending on age. So age 50, over age 50, the 30-year term is not available, but otherwise term durations are 10, 15, 20, and 30-year. We have an accelerated death benefit for terminal illness rider that's included in the pricing. There are also 3 optional riders, accidental death, children's term insurance rider, and waiver of premium are all things that you can opt into for your customer. And we do offer conversion to a permanent product for the first 10 years or up to age 70. So what does it look like? When we say easy for producers, what does that mean? I love Brian's story of two policies in 21 minutes. It's not lip service. That happens, and it happens frequently. It's not a one-time thing. He wasn't just lucky. A large majority of our cases are done auto very quickly. So the first step is the agent completes a digital drop ticket. You would do that, number one, and most importantly, you would want to be appointed with Symetra through First Heartland. That would be the most important thing, because you're going to go in through their iGo or iPipeline instance in order to do that drop ticket. I like to say it takes about 7 to 9 minutes max. If you have your customer's information in front of you, there are some basic questions that you have to ask and answer on there, and you fill that in. Once you're done, a link via email is sent to your customer, where they can click in and do their part two of the application. So that's where we ask, who do they want to have as their beneficiary? What's their driver's license number? All the typical part two life and health questions that you would get on an insurance application. They complete that, they sign it via e-signature, and then a decision is made which path their policy is going to take, and we'll cover the paths in just a second. Once they're approved, regardless of path, you will get an email letting you know that the case is approved. First Heartland will get that email, and the customer will get their own email that has a link specific to them, which is called the Get Coverage link. So it will say, "Congratulations, Danielle Schneider, you've been approved. Click here to get coverage." They go in, they pay, and then their policy is immediately issued and in their portal for them. And you get a copy of that as well. So no delivery requirements, no additional signatures needed from the agent. So talking about the three paths, automated. So what Brian experienced on his first two cases was the auto approval. About 25+% of cases fall into this automated. Um, so the customer gets done with their customer interview, they sign their application, and they get an email saying, "Congratulations, you've been approved. Click here to get coverage." You get an email saying, "Congratulations, your customer's been approved," with all the pertinent information. That's the number one path. The next path could be accelerated, meaning there might be something that we need some human eyes on, right? Something that the system can't interpret. Maybe it's an MIB code, maybe it's some free form text that was input on the application. My team then reviews those between 24 and 72 hours. So it's a light human touch. The case is then approved. Same thing happens. Your customer gets an email that they're approved. You get an email, and First Heartland gets an email that they're approved as well. If we have additional questions that are needed, we always keep you in the loop. If we have to reach out to the customer or to you guys to get any additional information, but this is a really, really fast process. The third path could be that their medical questions lead us to the fully underwritten path. And we'll provide you with the Swift Term microsite that will give you some examples of what would go to fully underwritten. And that's your typical underwriting. We you have a lot of tools we can use to cut down the timeline here, but it could be as much as a typical APS and an exam that's needed. You're going to get communication on the fact that that's happening and why it went that path. The nice thing about Swift Term is you don't have to pivot. You don't have to say to your customer, "Oh gosh, you didn't qualify for this auto process. Now we need to take a new application and go somewhere else. The products change, the pricing's changed." None of that is true. You stay in the same awesome Swift Term process. You stay with the same pricing, which you'll see later in the presentation is, um, among the top in the industry. But those are the three different paths that the application can take. The underwriting tools. So I mentioned that we have some tools to speed up the process and how we can auto approve such a large majority of the cases. Instant ID. So while you're doing the drop ticket, we are running a kind of instant ID check in the background saying, "Hey, is this a real human? Does their social security number match? Does the address make sense? The date of birth match what is on the file?" You'll see if you kind of typo, it will pop up and say, "Are you sure Danielle Schneider was born in 1974?" Because we see 1976. It'll give you some tips along the way. Once the customer gets in and starts their application, they will sign a HIPAA form and some disclosure forms, which allows us to run these other tools in the background. We run the typical MIB check, so the Medical Insurance Bureau, an MVR, so their vehicle report, prescription profile, so prescriptions in the last 7 years, um, a TRL, which is a TransUnion Credit Behavior Score. So I want to be super clear. This is not a credit score. This is not us doing a hard inquiry on their credit. It is a simple 26 factor algorithm that kind of tells us about their credit or buying behavior. So that's one of the tools that we use. And then Lab Picture. Lab Picture allows us to pull any labs completed through Quest Diagnostics. in the recent history. This allows us to move more cases without the customer having to do an exam, which is a really nice tool to have. Pricing. One of the commitments with SwiftTerm is that while we do offer the ease of fluidless underwriting, we also want to stay competitive in price so that you always know that you're offering your customer something of great value. You can see that we did updated pricing last month, so September 8th, and you can see at that time where we were ranked. We know that the term business moves quickly and pricing changes a lot, so we might fluctuate between 1 and 3, but generally that's pennies difference. Um, and I would venture to say with the process, um, it's worth a couple extra pennies, but this is where we were at as of September 8th. So this is the most recent heat map I have. You
So
can
one is good, right, Danielle? One
one
and
is
lots of
good, yeah.
green. Okay,
Lots of green
because they
and
were
one
gonna
is
they were gonna
real
kick
good,
us off the call if we were like number 15, but
right?
looks like
I
we're
don't blame them.
top couple in all these categories with the best process as well. So just wanted to point that out. We're excited
Yes.
about this, right, Danielle? We're excited.
We are excited about it. I've been in this industry a long time, and it used to be that pricing changes took months and months and months to execute and react to because you get actuary involved, and there's so much to it. We're able to react really quickly to the market to ensure we stay competitive. Swift Term's been out about, I think, 18 months now, and we've had 4 price changes, all positive, so no increases, which has been nice. The other thing you can rest assured is as we do that, your customer always gets the best pricing at the time they're paying. So we updated rates on September 8th. If somebody had applied 3 days before and they were paying on September 9th, they got the very best pricing for them. So it is a game of pennies, but yes, Brad, ones are really, really good. So this is a beautiful site for us. We like it. Some tips. So Swift Term, with revolutionizing things, and I love that that was Dallas's take on it because that's how I feel too. We've won multiple industry awards for innovation with Swift Term. I, of course, am a little biased, but I think it's the best process I've ever seen in my 17 years in the industry. Um, but with innovation comes, some things that people aren't used to, and it might be a little different. So here are some tips. You must be pre-appointed with Symetra through First Heartland. The reason for that is that potential 21 minutes from the time you start the drop ticket until the customer has paid and they have a policy in hand. So pre-appointment is necessary. Work with First Heartland. They will get the appointment to us. We will expedite it for any Swift Term business to make sure that you have it quickly. And so you can go in and do that drop ticket and complete it. After you get appointed, you'll receive your producer number. It takes about 1 or 2 hours for that to go through cyberspace and for you to be able to do a drop ticket in the iPipeline portal. Ensuring all drop ticket information is accurate. So because we run that instant ID in the background, after you hit submit and it sends that email to your customer, there is no editing on the drop ticket. This is super important because you don't want to have to start over and you don't want your customer to have to go back through that customer interview. So especially important is the cell phone number and the email. Where that might not be as important on, a typical life application, that's what we use to verify your customer, and we send them a 4-digit code in order to get into their customer interview. So those are really critical. The other thing, date of birth is used to verify, and the last 4 of their social. So all of those 4 pieces of information are super critical. There's a lot of other things we can note the file on the back end or that sort of thing. You missed a middle initial, their birth date's wrong, things like that we can correct on our end. But those 4 pieces of information are really critical that they're really accurate so you don't have to start over. Following up with the customer to ensure they have the email and they're completing it. Because we don't do tele interviews, you don't have any annoyance calls to your customer, but also they can lose the urgency sometimes. We do send automated follow-up reminders if they haven't completed their drop ticket or their customer interview. But it's important if you want that 21-minute turnaround time that the customer is completing their part of the application right away. After the underwriter approves or the instant approval, the BGA and agent will get an email with the approval information. The customer will receive a separate email. Again, like we talked about, that is their individual link. No one else has that. It allows them to go in, set up their customer portal, and pay. So they're the only ones that get that email. Oh, sorry. If the customer wants changes, so say they get approved, you had quoted them preferred and they get best class and they say, hey, I'd like to increase my term years, I'd like to increase my face amount, or vice versa. That's fine. We can do that very easily. It does not take a new application. It's just an email to our team, and you'll have that contact information in the microsite. And we can do an Adobe Sign amendment sent to your customer. I did a reissue on a case yesterday in 7 minutes. No kidding. From the time the customer said they wanted to increase their face amount to the time we were reapproving at the higher amount, it was literally 7 minutes because the customer signed the amendment right away. I don't know about you, but 7 minutes, I have never seen a process where you can do a reissue in 7 minutes. Another thing that I like about Swift Term. The caveat is don't have them place it in force. Once a Swift Term application's in force, there's no contract change on it. We can't change anything except for after the first year, they have the opportunity to decrease face amount. Um, so once it's in force, that's it. So if all of a sudden they say, you know what, I'd really like $1 million in coverage instead of 500,000, that'll be a new app. So make sure if they want changes that they're not putting it in force until those are done. Offers on Swift Term. So when that approval email comes, the offer is good for 14 days. We're pretty flexible on that if the customer needs an extension. There's a lot of reminders out there that go out to both your customer and yourself after the approval, and so there's a lot of opportunity for them to pay. But it's good to create a little urgency there. This says within 24 hours after the policy is enforced, you'll receive a link to download a copy of the policy. That 24 hours is me hedging my bets because sometimes a case will go through our quality review process. So about 10% we pull that policy out and do a quality check. Most of the time it's instant. Within 30 minutes, you're going to have that policy in hand. Swift Term is unique. Yes. So if your customer would need to go through that fully underwritten process, we do all of the ordering and all of the handling from there. So no need for you to schedule an exam, work with the examiners, secure APS records. We do all of that on our end through both EHR vendors and our vendor Exam One. They'll reach out to the customer, get that exam scheduled. They also have the opportunity at the end of their customer interview to schedule that, but we'll take it from there. So sorry, my phone's ringing off the hook in my ear. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the extra cover of the Swift Term program is our extra coverage program. So you have a customer that maybe has a need for some term and perm coverage. They can do that through Swift Term. So, they come in for a $500,000 term case, approved super preferred, and they need $100,000 in UL coverage. They can do that without any additional underwriting within 30 days of their policy being placed in force without any additional underwriting. So um, up to $1 million and up to the face amount of their Swift Term coverage. So they can't do more perm than term, if that makes sense. So that's a nice program if you have people that need the term and perm coverage. 22 minutes I got through that. I'm going to pause and take a breath from all my talking and see what questions we might have. In the event of fully underwritten scenario, is your average time 30 days or do you generally get them done sooner? That's a good question, David. Our average is 17 days. What I'll say to that is that's super dependent on APS retrieval and the customer time to set up the exam. Those two delays. If the customer puts off the exam for a long time, obviously we can't move forward without those results. And the APS retrieval continues to be something that we are working towards. We have a couple of different EHR vendors we work with, and we try to have that first course. If not, we go through a traditional APS retrieval through Exam One. And depending on the facility or if they use a copy service, that's where we see the drag on the policies. Later this year, we're going to be instituting. We talked about the different tools we use for underwriting. We're going to be instituting a tool called Milliman DX, which actually gives us diagnostic codes from doctors. We feel from our research that that's going to greatly reduce the number of APSs that we're going to need on that fully underwritten path. So I expect to see that time service on fully underwritten get even better than current. Oh, good question, Joshua. 50 states, no. South Carolina and New York, we cannot write in. South Carolina, weird, right? Why? South Carolina requires you to be able to take cash, money order, or a paper check um, in order to place a policy in force. We don't have that option. And that's probably a good thing to talk about. The customer is the only person that can pay for their policy through that get coverage link. There's no EFT form. They get to pick their pay mode and how they pay. Policies 500,000 and under face amount have the option to use credit debit card, both for initial and reoccurring premiums, which is nice, or an ACH type through our vendor plan. Policies over 500,000 face amount only have the ACH option, and that is simply a cost play. We're super competitive in the market, and the fees with credit cards, cut into our ability to be super competitive. All commission, yep, another good question. Commission is as earned on all policies for Swift Term. Yeah, we don't annualize, so the commission is as earned. Um, and the customer has the opportunity to choose that pay mode. So if prefer, if your business model is annual, you'll want to, have that conversation with your customers that, annual payment. We do encourage it and let them know it's the most economical when they go into that customer interview or customer payment screen. But yeah, we don't have the opportunity to collect a check, which is why not in South Carolina. We're working on it, but we're just not getting a lot of leeway there with that. And then New York for obvious reasons, but we would love to be in both of those states. It is, Michael, it's a good program. I tell you what, again, I'll say in my 16 years, I've never, 17 now, I've just never seen anything so smooth. And not that we're not without bumps. I mean, I'll be super candid. We are an agile program. We rolled out 18 months ago, and we're constantly improving things. We just went up to 3 million recently. We just last Monday improved our build chart. So we were pretty conservative when we rolled out because candidly, you guys, 75% of our people are never weighed or measured, right? So we're taking what somebody like driver's license weights sometimes, right? And so we were pretty conservative on our build at first. We have found through the process of random holdouts that we were having pretty good exposure. So we were able to get really, really competitive in our build chart. So we're constantly looking at things, changing and tweaking things. And the program just keeps getting better and better, quite candidly. What other questions do we have? Brad or Matt, anything you guys want to add? I know you're airport bound, but you guys always seem to come up with good things I haven't covered.
Well, I wanted to add a couple bullet points here, and apologize for the noise, but basically, you have top pricing. If we're not number one, we're within pennies. You have the best process to where you can get 75 to 80% of your client's coverage in 2 to 3 days. Of that 75 to 80%, we talk about 25 to 30 being instant within 20 minutes. So if you look at that, that's a great advantage over any other carriers' accelerated underwriting process. Plus, we have ability for conversion, and there's no tele-interview. So there's a lot of points that lead us to the top on the process and the pricing. So just want to point a couple of those things out. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael, yeah, just to confirm with either EFT or debit cards paid as earned. Yep, all commissions are paid as earned on Swift Term, even if it's the ACH process. And the customer does have the opportunity to update their payment process within their customer portal as well. They can update beneficiary, address change, email, anything like that. That's all self-service. Um, yeah, I think, Brad, those are all really, really good points. Um, I just would encourage you to, it's one of those things, like, we get feedback, well, it's too good to believe. I don't believe that it really works that well. I would encourage you to talk to First Heartland. I know Dallas shared Brian's experience. Those are real cases, with people in the organization and what they're experiencing. So I would really encourage you, if you're interested, to get appointed through Symetra, with Symetra through First Heartland, and give it a try. We're going to send out the microsite, um, so that you have all the information. It's a really good site. It does give you some underwriting information. It lets you know things that would lead people to the fully underwritten path. It also has some customizable flyers that you can use to send out to your customers. It has a nice little 2-minute video, or less than that, that you can share with customers so they know what to expect, and a nice flyer for customers so they know what to expect in the process. It's a really good, there's a lot of good tools out there. So we'll send that out to the attendees. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? All right. Well, we hit our 30-minute mark. I always try to not go past 30 minutes, because I know everybody's time is valuable. So really want to thank everybody for tuning in. Um, oh, you had me up to paid as earned. Are there any plans to advance 9 months on the ACH in the future? Good question, Mike. It is a conversation. That's what I'll say. At this, if at this time we don't have anything permanently on our roadmap, but it is a conversation. Anytime we get feedback from our producers and BGA offices that we need to look at something, we definitely look at it. I will tell you, because of the efficiency of SwiftTerm, we're a really small team, and paid advancing takes a lot of staff, quite candidly. And so we're in discussions on it, but I don't have immediate plans with that. Could you give an example all the way through of a 30 mail, including pricing and commission? Sure. Like, and just to be sure I'm getting what you want to know, like, what would it look like from beginning to end? Like, from the time of, and can you guys unmute? Can I unmute you? No. Um, Oh, no, don't want to apologize. That's awesome. Okay, so beginning to end, first step would be to make sure you're appointed, right, through, I've said that a couple of times, through First Heartland with Symetra. Then you would go on to First Heartland's website and go to their iGo portal, and do the quote for your person and choose Symetra Swift Term product. It would then bring up a drop ticket. So you would put in your producer information, a couple pertinent data facts on your customer, including email, cell phone, date of birth, policy information. Do they have any enforced coverage? And then you would hit submit on the drop ticket. That would then generate an email to your customer saying, hey, I'm going to pretend like I'm the customer. I'm going to be your customer, Ian. Hey, Danielle Schneider, complete your application for life insurance. I would click into that as the customer. I would enter my driver's license information, my beneficiary information, sign some consent forms, go through the life and health questions, and then I would submit my application. So I would do an e-signature, and that would submit the application. At that point, some emails are going to be generated. The BJA, so First Heartland, and you as the agent would get an email saying Danielle Schneider submitted her application to Symetra, and it's going to tell you either congratulations, she's been approved, we're going to need 1 to 3 days due to her answers, or due to the answers, we need medical exam. Okay, it's going to pick one of those 3 paths when they're done. Auto approved, great. You get an email saying Danielle Schneider has been approved. Here's premium. How I was approved. I'm going to pretend like super preferred, but whatever it is, standard, preferred, super preferred. And these are the premiums. I, as the customer, I'm going to get an email saying, Danielle, congratulations, you've been approved. Click here to get coverage. I'm going to click that button. I'm going to go in, I'm going to set up my password for my customer portal. I'm going to pay, and then I'm going to get a copy of my policy in my customer portal, and I'm going to have an email letting me know that it's ready. You, as the producer and the BJA, are going to have that as well. light touch case, it's going to go to my underwriting team. Somebody's going to look at it and they're going to send you and First Heartland an email saying, hey, I've looked at Danielle Schneider's case. She's applied at 4 different companies in the last 2 months. Can you tell me if those, what happened with those? Are those enforced? Was she declined? That sort of thing. Or, hey, I see that she's on metformin, but she didn't say anything about diabetes, right? You may have a question there. Get that done, then we're going to move to the approval process. Looks the same as before. Fully underwritten, you're going to get an email from an underwriter saying, hey, Danielle Schneider went to full underwriting because of her build, marijuana use. She's got $20 million of enforced coverage. She has cardiac history. Now, high blood pressure, cholesterol, we don't consider that, something to kick to fully underwritten, but, say, big cardiac history, something like that. You're going to get an email from the underwriter letting you know what's needed. Maybe they say, hey, we need an exam due to their admission of diabetes. Or we've also ordered medical records from Dr. Smith. Then once those requirements come in, again, review, approval, and then those emails are generated again. The policy is generated after payment. So again, there's no delivery requirements. You're just kept up to date with automated emails. So that's kind of an overview of the process. Commissions are paid out depending on how you're set up with First Heartland. Either daily, weekly, monthly, however your schedule is with that. We, like in Brian's example, he wrote policies on Tuesday, got paid on Friday. I am not the commission expert, but yes, it is paid as earned. So if your customers choose monthly premium of $100 a month, you're going to get paid monthly each time they pay. If they choose annual $1,200, you're going to get commission on that amount because that's what they've paid. As far as like the timing and percentages and stuff, that I have to defer to First Heartland. Does that help, Anne, with an overview? Or is there anything that I missed there? Okay, perfect. Okay. Anything else, you guys? Okay. Well, really, truly appreciate your guys' time today. I know it's super valuable, but we appreciate you taking the time to join us and hope that you get appointed and enjoy Swift Term. Oh, Dallas is back. We're just wrapping up.
Hey guys, sorry.
Hey.
All right. Sounds like it went well. I see a lot of questions. So perfect.
Yeah, good, smart questions. It was nice.
Very nice. All right, guys.
We covered a lot. So
Yeah. So like Danielle, I'm sure has already said, reach out to us. Let's get you going with Symetra and we'll rock it, man.
awesome.
So,
Thanks,
right.
everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Halfway
Thank
through
you.
the week.
We'll see you. We've made it.
Have
Thank
a
y'all.
good
We'll
one.
see you. Bye.
Bye.